This is a business logistics project made by Maurício Rigoni Carvalho and Laura Silveira Granados, 2015. Doctors Without Borders, Humanitarian Logistics. When it comes to medical care beyond the normal levels, the 5 largest humanitarian organizations in the world use the same organization services, the Doctors Without Borders, or Médecins Sans Frontières. The question this presentation proposes to answer is, how can an organization such as this one, whose main budget source comes from donation, that has started as a commando, that is not under the roof of any government, of any enterprise, or of the United Nations, is able to respond to the needs of the 5 largest, to its own project's needs, and to disaster relief needs. In a word, logistics. But to understand such an affirmation, we have to first get a look into DWB big numbers. Beginning with their team, they have almost 35,000 staff members that work as all kinds of doctors, managers, and researchers and volunteers. This team is spread over almost 70 different countries in all continents. Besides that, experience has also been of great importance. The DWB exists since 1971 and has treated over 100 million people so far. And during all those years, the Doctors Without Borders has been present in more than 60 big humanitarian situations. Adding all these numbers up leads to the idea of an enormous necessity of logistical employees, resources, and planning. The Doctors Without Borders organization has almost 30 offices around the world and that serve to its management and logistical needs. 5 main operation centers: Paris, Brussels, Amsterdam, Barcelona, and Geneva, and 3 main supply centers: Brussels, Amsterdam, and Bordeaux. Apart from that, they also had $32 million in equipment and goods in their stocks and almost $858 million in cash equivalents they can use to whatever needs they have all in 2014 numbers. Is this structure the responsible for their capability of delivering at any moment supplies to emergency situations, or of sending what amounts to 2 fully equipped hospitals and supplies, both within 24 hours, as they claim? Under Doctors Without Borders' main umbrella, more activity-focused enterprises need to exist in order to give enough attention to logistic matters. For that reason, MSF Supply, MSF Logistique, and the Amsterdam Procurement Unit exist. They are also the 3 main supply centers mentioned before. MSF Supply is a procurement unit dealing with management of orders, storage, and shipment for Doctors Without Borders and other humanitarian organizations. It is part of MSF Belgique. MSF Logistique is the main brain of Doctors Without Borders Logistics. It deals with the whole supply chain management, planning, organization, and functionality, and it is located in Bordeaux. And the Amsterdam Procurement Unit has a similar functions as the MSF Supply, having the difference that, for its location, it deals more directly with shipments and distribution all over Europe. It is also part of MSF Operations Center Amsterdam, which is formed by MSF UK, MSF Germany, and MSF Holland. Moreover, their whole process of opening a new project that comes from evaluating the international community response, team already working in the region, UN intervention, local government cooperation, etc., to the actual establishment of a team and sending of supply needs to be fast and precise when it comes to disaster relief, but also it needs to be very well organized and functional when it comes to long-term campaigns and areas of need. For being able to respond in terms of logistics to all their needs, DWB allocation of warehouses and inventory management methods have to take into account 2 main features of the organization's activity: the random location and random type size demand of the projects. Both almost impossible to forecast using a normal industry method. For this reason, for instance, they can't own several warehouses around the world, since many of the projects are temporary, and so a high fixed cost of installing a warehouse won't pay off. But they need to be able to rent warehouses space all around the world in a matter of hours and for prolonged periods. So, they own the three main warehouses mentioned before with total combined area of 40,000 square meters in Europe, and they use their offices around the world to make connections with many different warehouses close to the project's locations when needed. Also, those three supply centers alongside with the operations centers compose one of the most efficient and globally respected structure of logistics. Accordingly to Symphony Gold, the enterprise whose system is used in Brussels' warehouse, this facility alone can process 6,000 orders and 3,000 shipments per year and has a storage capacity of 20,000 items serving 37 different countries' projects. But this enormous capacity of processing orders and goods, shipping them and resupplying is not enough. When a demand is as random as the medical care needs one, inventory management is as important as warehousing. Because of this high volatility of demand, natural disasters, epidemics, wars, people displacement, etc., from and to all around the world, their safety stock must be a lot higher than normal. 30% of all DWB's orders are related to emergencies. Also, because of one of the organization's goals is never to stock out, since that means people can die or suffer, the probability of stocking out has to be theoretically zero, once again leading to high safety stock. The solution founded by DWB was bold, but has been working out since its beginning in the 90s, having a permanent stock of essential goods, equipment, personnel, etc. in strategic places. That means that DWB has a permanent storage of essential goods near regions that are in forever need. This, allied to the fact that Doctors Without Borders invests a lot in inventory control, accountability, and organization, is the key of their fast response to so many humanitarian events for the past decades. One may think this will lead to unsustainable holding costs. Well, the solution for that comes from two ways. First, since Doctors Without Borders has extremely good supply chain control, warehousing, planning, management, software, and etc., they're able to cut costs as in many activities the rest of humanitarian organizations can't. Second, they are independent organization. Since they are independent organization, they can actually base their decisions not in profit making, but in the true efficiency to give medical care to people in need. Some other strategies count a lot for the success in managing inventory in warehousing as well. One is the famous DWB kit, which is already stored prepared to be given to medics without the need of more inventory organization of taking different products every time a situation calls. Another one is the fact that they collect money in 25 different countries, which ease the financial transactions around the world and eases the acquisition of supplies and services, transportation and storage being the most important ones. And also the fact that DWB uses a lot of sea transportation, using the air one only when truly needed. Moreover, donations and external help are always indispensable for the complete success of the projects, especially for disaster relief, and it's about that aid we are going to talk now.
In order to sustain the activities, DWB maintains partnership with almost every sector of the society. The humanitarian organizations partners, such as Fritz Institute and World Food Programme, provide more effective and faster aid to the victims in terms of supply or knowledge. For instance, in the case of the Ebola, a disease that affected the northwest of Africa in 2014, some doctors from DWB already had some experience with the disease and shared their knowledge to the other humanitarian organizations. Google also has become an important partner for Doctors Without Borders because of the innovations that the company has developed to help fight against the cholera in Haiti in 2010. Google staff members use Google Earth to visualize the cholera case origins and transmissions hotspots. Upon admission, all patients were asked what neighborhood they came from, and this information was transferred anonymously to a Google Earth overlay. Then, they could see better the progress of the outbreak and which neighborhoods had greater need for medical services. The maps were used to look for clusters of cholera cases related to drinking water sources. They also allow it to visually show the correlation between water outages and cholera cases. This compelling visual demonstration helped DWB to advocate for better water and sanitation in vulnerable areas. Although the organization does not rely on funding from government, it gets a lot of help from the private sector. The main partner companies are Microsoft, Credo Mobile, Expedia, and others. Doctors Without Borders also created a very interesting platform on the internet for individuals who wish to contribute sporadically to the organization. In this case, the site acts as an inventory. It indicates all the equipment they are using in field, like stethoscope or test kits for disease. So the person can purchase one or several of these devices and they will be delivered at the conflicted area. As an example of the organization's logistics excellence, we have the amazing capacity of building inflatable hostels in any part of the world in a matter of days. These facilities are easier, faster, and cheaper than construct a new building and consists an interesting alternative to cases which the current medical buildings are damaged or are not sufficient to attend the demand. This is the case of emergencies in poor countries like Haiti, and several African countries. The idea of inflatable tents came from the armed forces because they need hostels that can be deployed in a very short period of time in order to perform surgery without any construction work which can take weeks or months in remote areas. The inflated hospitals will be stored in Europe, in Bordeaux and Brussels, and the components are shipped by air and sea. When the equipment arrives at the propitious place to receive it, the setup time is about 48 hours. The problem and solution with this kind of equipment emerged with the experiences in field. One of the problems in the first time they used this hostel in Pakistan in 2005 was that there was a big difference in temperature between day and night. At night, the tents were deflating. The pressure inside the tent was not enough and was creating a problem. Now, gauges constantly measure the pressure and trigger compressors to reinflate if it gets too low. For Doctors Without Borders 100-bed facility, the most advanced one, the installations will have 9 tents, and each is about 100 square meters. So the total is about 900 square meters, including hospitalization and ICU and recovery beds, and also a triage and emergency tent and 2 operations theaters. The layout of the hostel is chosen by assessing the needs of the disaster area, because the entries at the front, middle, and back allows changes in the configuration of the tent, so the hostel can be set up according to the need of the moment. The purpose of this project is to be as autonomous as possible with regard to energy. In this case, the hostel have 2 generators, plus an electrical board and equipment to ensure electrical safety, and then have all the electrical wire needed to set up lights inside the ward and set up plugs for the medical equipment. There will be 30 doctors and medical personnel working on every 8 and 12-hour shift. In other words, during 24-hour period, 80 to 100 medical personnel will be available to see hundreds of patients. The mobile hospital also sterilized the tools used in the surgeries. Inside the tent, there is a kind of double lining which is completely closed and can be cleaned with sterilizing products. The plastic tile flooring is connecting to the floor, so that's why the place where the hospital is installed needs to be big and flat, like a football field. This is one of the limitations of this facility, because in places with many mountains it could be difficult to find a place propitious for installing. As an example of how the logistics can improve life-saving, we have the 2010 Haiti earthquake, the organization's greatest challenge. On the January 12th, a magnitude 7 quake struck about 15 kilometers southwest of the Haitian capital, Port-au-Prince. The disaster killed more than 200,000 people and left many more injured. Also, the serious damages in infrastructure made it very difficult to medical relief reach the victims. The earthquake destroyed 60% of the existing health facilities and 10% of medical staff were either killed or left the country. So they had to relocate services to other facilities, build container hospitals, work under temporary shelters, and even set up an inflatable hospital. The pressure was mounting on the logistics staff to charter planes and find routes to Haiti. The first team for reinforcing Doctors Without Borders staff already in the country arrived 48 hours after the earthquake, but there was serious struggle to get a landing slot in the damaged and congested airport at Port-au-Prince. In the first 6 days, out of 17 flights with vital supplies and staff that DWB intended to reach Port-au-Prince, 9 cargo and 2 passenger planes were diverted, usually to the neighboring Dominican Republic. The consequence for the patients was that many of the medical staff and their supply had to come by road, which added around 36 hours to the journey. The organization protested publicly to the U.S. authorities who were running the airport, and access did improve, but there was real concern about the impact the diversions had on the emergency care that was so urgently needed. Even so, some planes did arrive early on from the logistic base in Panama, and the Santo Domingo transport hub was soon consolidating as an additional access point. To recruit off staff among with the Haitians was particularly hard because many of them died in the disaster or had lost their family members or homes. On the other hand, the international recruitment was a success as hundreds of people put themselves forward as emergency cover. Operating space restoring and expanding surgical care was the key for the staff on the ground, which were searching for new buildings in the first few days that could be used for operating theaters. Also, Doctors Without Borders surgeons were working in a container. Although this practice has several limitations with hygiene conditions, the alternative was not to treat serious injured people. For the complex case like spinal injuries, cranial surgery, or multiple fractures, a helicopter transported those people to hospitals in Santo Domingo. But the Doctors Without Borders has still another device that they could use to manage the medical care. The inflatable hospital used in Haiti was the biggest ever used. The first shipment that left Bordeaux, France, found several delays to reach the island. First, the flight was supposed to land in Haiti, but because of the damage in this airport, the plane landed on the eastern side of the island, in the Dominican Republic, and the equipment can all the way to Haiti capital by truck. The unload took many hours and cost a lot of energy, but after almost 3 days of non-stoppable work, the hospital was ready to attend the victims. Although the great magnitude of the disaster, in the first 6 months after the earthquake, the organization had improved emergency care to more than 173,000 patients between January and May, manages 90 health structures, recruit over 3,000 Haitians and international staff, provide over 1,000 beds, performed 11,000 surgical operations. The number shows that Haiti is a success story, where Doctors Without Borders managed to avoid lost many lives through its larger network of logistics and suppliers. Therefore, we hope that this presentation has enlightened that excellence in logistics, such as the case of Doctors Without Borders, has an essential impact in life-saving for people in risk situations around the world. Thank you very much.